Hi everyone, Jesse here. We're going to be making some chicken fajita wraps. Quick, easy and simple and cheap, and that's great for students like me on a budget. It's a recipe I have made an awful lot of times, so let's try get this first try if we can. So if we come over to the desk, well, we will be preparing our meat and veg. If you have a look here, we have quite simply some chicken breast fillets. They're about £1.30 from my local supermarket. And we have the variants of peppers. We have bell peppers and a large cooking onion, which we're only going to probably use half of. And we're going to be cutting that into loose strips. So I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But first, we're going to pay our attention on the chicken. So before I touch the chicken, I've already handled it, but always wash your hands, and that's absolutely fine if you've already done it at this stage and you're following along at home, and feel free to follow along at home. You probably do it quicker than me because I'm talking as I'm doing it. Okay, so here we have some chicken breast fillets. So if you've got this little flap here and it's very loose, what you can do is, if your knife's a bit sharper than my one is, just get rid of the little loose bits that might cause you some issues. So here it is here. So this is because we'll be cutting this into strips. So there you go, nice thin strips. These will run all the way throughout the fajita and they'll cook beautifully and quickly. And that's what you want from your fajitas. You want it to be quick once it's in the pan and just fry off very quickly, very nicely. Because chicken's one of those things you want it cooked all the way through to avoid any illnesses. So I'm going to cut this one in half, and then I'm going to cut it in half again. Smaller strips are fine, just a mixture, a variety, that's fine. I want a bit of chicken to go everywhere in the fajita. So this should serve one person for 2 days. This has 2 chicken breast fillets, 3 peppers and an onion. That will feed one person a few wraps. It should serve about 6 wraps. That's decently sized wraps, not overfilled wraps. Yeah, it should serve one person for 2 days, which you can just put in the fridge the rest of the mix that you don't want, and then you can reheat that once. Don't reheat things containing meat more than once. And before you put them in the fridge, always make sure that it is cooled down to room temperature. Again, food hygiene and safety. Okay, so once you've chopped up the chicken and sliced it into thin strips or cubes, up to you, and you've put that aside, make sure that you've just washed your hands, just wash mine, and you get your veg ready on a different chopping board. Now, the correct chopping board for vegetables is a green chopping board. If you don't have that, just use whatever you've got at home. So here we have a yellow bell pepper. We have 3 peppers. I'm going to show you how to cut one, and then you cut the rest, and we'll be showing you how to chop an onion after this. So, cut a bell pepper, easiest way I find is to put your hand again in the middle, slice down approximately in the middle. You have the center here, and what you can do is you want to peel a little bit of the white membrane here, put your thumb at the back edge of the green part of the pepper, and you bring it over to your bin, and although you can't see this, pick out the membrane and then just shake it off into the bin to get the peppers out. It's the easiest way. Now you can have your own way of chopping it, that's fine. There's other ways online. There was a little bit of pepper wasted, but don't worry if that ever happens when you're doing it. Sometimes you get a clean one. It also depends on the age of your peppers and if, like me, you've kept them in the fridge or not. Is it whether that stalk is going to be easy to come out or not. So that came much easier out, much cleaner. Not as many seeds either, which is lovely. That's going to make showing you guys this very, very easy and simple. I'm going to wash my hands again because I've been handling the bin. Just give it a quick rinse. Again, I'm a bit of an OCD hand washer when I'm cooking, so they might differ for you. So now that we have our pepper seed there, you just want to lay it down like that. Grip again, slice it to whatever thickness you would like for your stir fry. Shouldn't really matter because so long as they're in strips, they should fry at the same rate. This end bit, if you try doing it like this, your knife might slip and it might go into the bottom of your fingers. Don't do that. Light it down flat as you can and finish off doing it with the gripped fingers, just so that you don't cut yourself. So again, point on the board, use that to guide you. There we go. Use your knuckles. And then again for this last bit, slide it down like so. Grip the fingers, grip them once more. Nice thin chopped yellow peppers. So in just a sec, you'll see all of the peppers chopped and we're moving on to the onion. This is how you chop an onion. Quite easy. What you're going to want to do is, again, point on the board and just slice so that you've got a flat bottom here to stand it up on. Get the other end, again, on the board. Don't try to do it on the onion because you might slip. And there you go. So you should have a flat surface, so your onion should sit like that. That will help you with the next step, which is chopping it roughly in half. So again, point on the board. I might want a bigger knife for this. No, that's fine. We have now 2 halves of an onion. There we go, that's pretty easy, isn't it? So you're going to want to use the bottom of your knife here. Be very careful when you do this. And if you are young and you're watching this somewhere somehow, ask an adult for help for this bit. Don't want you cutting yourselves. However, I doubt people younger will be watching this. Anyway, back to the regularly scheduled program. Okay, so once you've peeled the first few layers off your onion and you're feeling nice with it, yep, you're going to want the gripped end at the bottom, open end at the top, and because we're doing fajitas, we're going to want loosely cut onions, but we're going to do them again gripping your knuckles and using the knife as a guide. And you'll be doing that lengthways. And again, once it gets difficult, do this last one using the knife to guide. There we go. Then we're going to light it down as flat as we can. That's kind of just escaped, but that's fine. They are loosely chopped, and I'll show you what I mean by loosely chopped in just a second. Because we're going to do this one as well. So we're going to just split these apart on the chopping board, and I will see you at our pan, which we'll be putting onto a high heat. We're going to put a spoonful of oil, and I'll see you when we come to fry. Okay, so once your pan starts to heat up, I've just rubbed the oil with some paper towels so that the whole of the pan is covered. We're going to be adding our onions first into the mix here, and hopefully if it wasn't hot enough, they should start to sizzle. Okay, so we're getting this lovely aroma of the onions starting to caramelise now, so that means it's time, of course, for the chicken. So, without touching the chicken raw, so you don't have to wash your hands after this, just use your knife, get it off, and just split it about with your knife. Get the last little bit of chicken off there, get it in there. Again, try not to touch the bit that's had the meat on. And now, toss the chicken about so that it starts to cook. In just a moment we'll be adding salt and pepper, as well as some mixed herbs to give it that little bit of flavour. Okay, so once your chicken starts to brown up like ours has, make sure it doesn't stick to the pan. We've added a little bit more oil in the middle there just to prevent it burning, because it starts to burn some of the onions, as you see here. You're going to want to add in your peppers, so we're going to add them in now. Once we have a second. Just before we start to get it ready to plate up, I'm going to add some salt and pepper. Now you can do this throughout cooking, and we're just going to give it a mix through here as it's still cooking. Everything looks to be fully cooked through, and we'll be transferring it into our serving dish, which is just over here in just a moment. This is some sea salt. Get that all over. Salt. Just a little tiny bit of pepper before we add our mixed herbs, which will go together nicely into this. Just a little bit there of pepper. Cracked pepper there. And just a little bit, a little teaspoon there you go, of some mixed herbs, and you buy these in your supermarket pre-prepared in your local supermarket. What you're going to do now is really try and mix that through as best you can. I would recommend maybe putting the herbs in a bit earlier on, but you can add them in whenever you like. If you're into it, you can experiment with marinating your chicken as well. But there we go, we're starting to have a really lovely, colourful and very herby smelling fajita mix. You got onions, peppers, chicken, that's your proteins in there as well. You say not much oil there, and a lot of that moisture is coming from, of course, the peppers starting to lose some of that water content, which is good for us because it means that it will bring all the flavours together. All peppers have different tastes, and that's why we use 3 different colours, a variety. However, if you prefer a certain variety, be sure to use those in place. But having one of each colour here means we're going to get the basic array of flavours that these bell peppers will offer. So some will be slightly sweeter, the reds are slightly sweeter, greens will give off a different vibe, and yellows give off a different vibe as well. So keep that in mind when you're buying your peppers for this mix. This is ready to be spooned into its final bowl. You switch the heat off there. Now, gently as you go. There we go. Just lift her away. So here you have a beautiful fajita mix, which you can serve with your choice of wraps,